make them competitive in the name of, oh, I have to mainstream you, you have to be there for JEE. At the end of it, do what? We know this coaching for coaching that is famous in Andhra and Telangana. Ramaya coaching's tale which ends in class 1. Right, I'm not exaggerating. So, who's right, who's wrong? I don't know. This deeply unsettled me when I was there, because they belong to these societies of huge cooperation. And they interact with people who abuse that trust. And they withdraw. Again, we are sending them back home without giving them the education that they deserve or they need. Also, there has been a very late entry of formal education into the hill states. Formal education in Mizoram was started by the British Christian missionaries in 1894. So their language is written in the Roman script. And the first government school started in 1897, and the college in 1958. A large percentage of my own students have been first generation learners, not graduates, first generation learners. And but again, the diversity of the Northeast, this is in deep contrast with Assam, where education was well established. Shillong, of course, has a history. So you can't compare these students, and you can't expect somebody whose family has never seen a book or people debating about intellectual things to have the same attitude without any training and be there just because you have said that I'm going to give you a scholarship. Somewhere the sensitivity to these is important. This translates to a lack of books and libraries. For my entire stay in Mizoram, there was not a single bookshop that sold anything beyond class textbooks and notebooks. For my entire stay. All my books I had to bring from outside. Those days Amazon was not that good, or it didn't exist. And so those who have never stepped out, you come out for the first time, a library overwhelms you. The concept of debating overwhelms you. Oh, go and reference a book. We say it so casually. Some of them you might have to actually teach them what that means, what that statement actually means. And these again leads to the students into further isolation. There is an essential need to step out, but the avenues are far too little. The sensitization of the admission process, I think whoever is sitting on an admission process, that bit of sensitivity about not judging them and actually looking for a potential and not whether they're trainable and not whether they're trained is very, very crucial when it comes to students from that region. Their need to move out is sometimes much more crucial for the survival of the entire system, the family and the tribe. Casual discriminatory comments, please at least as a bystander step in and say that you will not accept it. One needs to understand that India is a diverse land of diversity and stop looking at everybody else through your own cultural lens. Your cultural lens is yours. And there are plenty of such things happening. Women in the Northeast region have far more freedom of movement, of daily finances, of choosing their partners. Don't get judgmental about them. They, as a society, have much more freedom than you can even imagine. It's a vicious circle because only those from the privileged leave the place, but those who stay back are the ones who become teachers. And they're going to go back and teach only what they know. So unless we start doing some remedial measures to ensure that quality of education goes back, we are going to be feeding to this vicious circle. Right. And those who stay back have become teachers, so on and so forth. I was the first one apparently who has ever introduced the concept of a problem sheet. My students were aghast initially, and 5-10 years later, they have actually put them into schools. Yes, you need to have patience and you need to work at the grassroots level. It is not enough for us to be sitting in our points on our stages of elitism and always only talk about those places which are resources rich. You have lack of, this is the one. To just summarize the debate that was going, I completely see both sides of the point, but there are people who are so underprivileged that they have never seen a lab. The resources are so meager. I completely agree that this has to be a trigger and this cannot be the end means. But it has its place, and Dr. Shubhavati was saying, we have to find a way to fit it into our educational system. These can't be treated as some enemies, and especially in cases where we don't have laboratories. This is a culture of not questioning because of various reasons, because also they don't want to look stupid in front of, it's a cultural thing. They don't want to look stupid in front of their peers. Many of these communities are strongly patriarchal, which means girls don't have a right to speak or right to make decisions. Now take all this and put them into an examination which is filled with MCQs. And on a split second they have to make decisions. Choose. Make decisions. They fail. And this was one of the satellite workshops that ICWIP had conducted at Shiv Nada University. This is the link. And I will not go into details, but girls being poor at working with MCQs has a lot of sociological background to it. Of course, conflicts. I have attended, imagine if in this room you had 10 gunmen standing at the back, how safe would you feel? And I have attended business conferences that way in Manipur. It's positively scary. You don't know when that gun can be turned onto you. And those are academic conferences, Physics Academy of Northeast. Right. One person I know had to get all her siblings educated and settled before she could even think of getting married, because she is the only way out of this entire system. The IMA market in Imphal, if anybody has a chance, please go. It's such a beautiful experience. This market is surrounded by insurgents, by army police, patrolling, etc., etc. Just a few minutes, I'm going to run down. Inside are women. Ima means mother in Manipuri. And this market is run fully by women. Sitting next to each other could be widows of both army soldier and an insurgent. Both, each one killing the other. And those mothers are trying to get their children educated and get out of the system. Every time society has gone to a near collapse, it's women who have stepped in to stabilize it back. Let's not underestimate the strength of these girls and women who are struggling, and education is their only way out. And when they step out, how do we treat them? Sorry, this is something that's very close to my heart. Yeah. So this was my own struggle, because these were the roads, that was my university bus. And my lab was, my office was here and my lab was there. That was the only place, because they've never seen a laboratory. This is the reality. I said I want a lab space, and they gave me up the hill, 2 kilometers or 2.5 kilometers, and I had to walk between classes to perform my experiments for my research. I'll leave it at that. This was, a month ago I was in Sikkim for just a break, and I was at a homestay, and this moved me very, very, very deeply. The homestay owners, he's 62, and they have 4 children. These 2 girls, one is 10 and one is in class 10 and one is in class 5. They go to school every day. They're very keen on learning. The younger one likes English and mathematics. They have to go on this path for 8 kilometers one way to school, or take a shortcut which is slippery steps, which is 4 kilometers. They come back every day and have somebody apply move to their legs, but have to go back to contributing to the family economy, the household work, because it's a homestay. I said, they had a little place, and I said, maybe I'll come back and be a school teacher here. And this gentleman gave me a tight slap on my face, figuratively. He said, don't make a promise you don't intend to keep. We need education. Say it only if you mean it. So some of the ways in which we have been trying to work, because what this leads to is this imposter syndrome. We constantly feel we don't belong, and Vandana has referred to this. We had started this program called Program for Aspiring Women Scientists, where we try to address some of these issues. But we were discussing this. We need to take this forward to the Northeast region. And almost the last, in September, I'm also curating another sub-theme on women in STEM and building scientific tempo for the Indian Academy of Women's Studies. This will be held in Trivandrum, and the call for abstracts is open till this 15th, so if any one of you wants more details, please do contact me. I'm doing this along with Vinita Bal, who has been an advisor to the Government of India on women in STEM. So, in conclusion, deliberate equity measures, sensitization programs, and presence of more women in academia will be a good starting point to bridge the gap that exists between academic worlds in the mainland and those in the NER. This talk was broadly based on an article I had written for Confluence long time back. And also what I have learned from the people of NER, in particular Alma, who shared her views on this, because I wanted to know that I made sense even today, that these points are relevant. And thanks to Tejas for facilitating this particular conversation. And Emmanuel, who is my own student from CUTN, he's a Boro, and they were very free in sharing their experiences. Caveats, quick caveats, I understand that most of this talk is anecdotal, so don't judge me on that. I understand this. I'm also aware that what I have said does not capture the rich diversity of the Northeast. The reality of Guwahati is different from the reality of Mysore, and the culture of the hill states is different. However, as they say, one grain of rice for a pot of rice. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhurima. I think that will evoke a lot of thought in our mind. And I think since we are really running late, let us ponder over it. We can have more discussion with her. And I hope it's okay if I don't open question and answer.
Absolutely, I'm here. You can talk to me anytime.
And I just want to mention one thing, because I just 2 weeks back there was a lecture in PRL by someone called Colonel Rodriguez. He is an ex-army person in Northeast, and he has a trust called the Sunbird Trust, and the aim is to bring peace through education. And he has started at a grassroots level, and it was really an eye-opener. And Madhurima's talk also, like I am having that idea which I really did not have for the kind of things which he said. So I just thought that it is a good opportunity to talk about this Sunbird Trust. So if you have time, you can just take a look and the kind of things they are doing. And I thought that if we can help them in some way, it will be very good. And in our gender group also, we tried to take a person from that area. We have Professor Dilip Angam from Manipur University, but because of this problem and there is no internet, he just could not be a part of the event. So that shows the kind of reality. So with this, we have to come back at 2.
Yes. Participants, the lunch is just down here. It's called the GITAM Cafe.